So as of lately, I've been seeing a lot of new filmmakers and photographers just rise up, just honestly start to perfect their craft. And it honestly excites me so much because these are the people who are going to be taking over the industry in the future. Our generation is just slowly getting better at what we can obtain and what we can achieve from what the past has been able to achieve. And it's been honestly amazing to be a part of that generation as well. But one of my pet peeves, or more like things that kind of make me irk a little bit, is sometimes I see a lot of filmmakers or photographers go out of their way to advance themselves a little too quickly before they're actually ready. And what I mean by that is they don't know how to master their gear. It sucks when I see friends or close people that I know, or just people in general, when they ask questions such as, hey, like, what's the best camera? What camera should I use? How much was your camera? And, I tell them the price or whatever, and they're like, okay, I think that's what I'm gonna get. And you're just like, oh, wait a minute, hold on, slow down, like, slow your roll. There's obviously much better options for you as a beginner, or like somebody who's at an intermediate level before you can like level up. First of all, the main reason why I'm even making this video is because I used to be that person. And if I can prevent other people from making the same mistake than I can, then I'm gonna talk about it. A couple years ago, when I shot my first wedding, I thought to myself that I needed better gear after I watched the outcome of the video. The video was not bad, but after coming back to it a couple months later, I thought to myself, okay, I need to upgrade everything that I have and just spend thousands of dollars on just getting a new camera, new microphone, like new tripod, all this pizzazz. So at the end of that year, what I did was I bought a new camera. I ended up going from the Lumix G7 to a Canon 77D. So 2 years later, another wedding was coming up, and actually she was my second shooter. She had actually upgraded her camera from the Canon 80D to the Sony a7 III. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness, like, you have like the best of the best, because I was seeing all these other filmmakers have this camera, shoot with it, and I saw the capacity of what they could do. And around this time, a lot of people were talking about the Sony a7S III. So immediately my brain, again, if you saw my last video, I used to shoot only in 60 frames per second. I was thinking to myself, okay, this thing shoots 4K 60, it's the best of the best. And top of that, it also has 4K 120. I can slow down the video even more. Like, I am ready to go get this camera. And of course, you know the price, it's a whopping like $3,500. So I didn't have the money for it. It was stupid. All in all, I disregarded all of that and I decided to go rent it. I paid about $200 for the camera body, a couple of lenses, and that was it. And unironically too, at the same time, I didn't realize that the payload for everything that I was having would be a little too heavy for the gimbal that I was using. So I failed in that sense as well. So here comes the wedding. I pulled out all the gear, boom, bam, bop, ready to shoot, and I go to log. But there were a couple of different things that I failed to even understand when I got the camera, such as 1, what S-Log3 was, 2, how to expose for it, 3, how to utilize 10-bit to its actual full capacity, and so many more different things about it. I just thought to myself that when I saw the 4K 120, my brain was like, this is it. All my weddings are gonna look like movies. The video did come out really well, but when I even went to switch to that 4K 120, it was giving me that SD card was not readable in that specific mode because I did not have the tools to actually use it. I see a lot of people to this day still kind of jumping the gun and saying now, like for example, the FX3 is one of the best cameras out there. Some people are going to assume that if they go from like my Lumix G7 to a Sony FX3, that I'm going to be a better cinematographer, which to an extent, yes, the camera can make your quality upscale, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be better if you haven't honed in on the skills with the particular camera that you're using at that time. I used to watch countless videos about the Sony a7 III, and all these people were making cinematic videos with their a7 III that looked like movies. And in my brain, I was like, I'm a good cinematographer. How come I haven't been able to achieve that? And there were so many different elements of mastering that camera that I hadn't got to yet, that I was jumping the gun and assuming that if I go buy the Sony FX3 or the a7S III, that I'm going to be a better filmmaker, which was not the case. So time and time again, I spent watching YouTube videos, learning more about my camera. I shot stuff randomly so that way I could just put it in Premiere and just practice what I was doing wrong with color grading. I tried to take as much time as I could to master the gear that I had before I made that jump to buying my Sony a7 IV. This is the Sony FX6, right? This camera costs about $6,000 just for the body itself. I remember when I saw the Sony FX6, I was like, oh my goodness, if I get that camera, I am going to be absolutely amazing at what I do. And I'm so glad that, for one, I didn't have $6,000 to even spend, but two, I took the time to slowly take the steps to mastering each camera that I had, to the point where I can use that camera and I'm like, I'm pretty good at what I can do. Absolutely love that camera. It's a game changer. Well, all in all, my biggest thing is, before you go out and spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on gear, take the time to see if you've really mastered what you have in front of you. Try to make sure that you understand simple things such as white balance, your ISO, your picture profiles, the codec that you're using. There's so many different elements about filmmaking that I feel like some people skip, and they just want to jump into the good stuff because they see what other people are doing. And if you speed up that process, you're going to end up falling on your face. Everybody's running their own race. It's a good thing. Take your time. There's no rush. But the best thing that you can do is learn, and knowledge is power, and I will continue to preach that for this channel. So that's all I gotta really say. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take it easy. Maybe the next video is actually gonna be shot with this, probably.